Good evening. Welcome to the Wheeling Special Meeting for Monday, October 27th. Is now called to order. Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Trustee Vogel?
Here.
Trustee Lang?
Here.
Trustee Kruger?
Present.
Trustee Hein?
Here.
Trustee Brady?
Here.
Trustee Heer?
Here.
President Juris?
Here. Entertain a motion to approve the minutes for the special meeting of September 22nd, 2014.
So moved.
Motion by Trustee Heer, second by Trustee Vogel. Roll call, please.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Kruger?
Yes.
Trustee Hein?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Heer?
Yes.
President Juris?
Yes. Changes to the agenda?
We have one this evening. I'd like to ask that we remove item 13C. The petitioner notified us that he could not make it this evening.
Entertain a motion to remove it.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Trustee Lang, second by Trustee Vogel. Roll call.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Kruger?
Yes.
Trustee Hein?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Heer?
Yes.
President Juris?
Yes, thank you. We have a couple proclamations this evening.
Congratulating Wheeling High School on its 50th anniversary. Wheeling High School first opened its doors in 1964, beginning a 50-year tradition of serving students and families from Wheeling and the neighboring communities of Arlington Heights, Buffalo Grove, Mount Prospect, Northbrook, and Prospect Heights. Wheeling High School has established itself as a cornerstone of the community, serving not only as an educational institution, but also as a focal point for family life, local tradition, sports and athletes, and music and the arts, diverse cultural enrichment, entrepreneurship, civic engagement, and the development of a skilled workforce. Wheeling High School has demonstrated a proven record of success over the years, having received top honors from the Illinois Alliance for Arts Education, the American School Counselor Association, and the Technology Education Association of Illinois, and having been named one of America's best high schools by U.S. News and World Report. The Village of Wheeling and its neighbors are fortunate to count Wheeling High School as a key resource at the heart of our community. Dean Argyris, President of the Village of Wheeling, does hereby proclaim congratulations to Wheeling High School on the occasion of its 50th anniversary, and calls upon the citizens of Wheeling to join him in honoring the vital role it has played and continues to play in our community.
Thank you. We have Principal Cece here this evening. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
We really appreciate it. We got a couple of guys with one of the original ones that works with that. There's a lot of history here, but what a great event this month.
That's
awesome.
wonderful. It will continue throughout the years. I will be glad.
Second proclamation.
National Breast Cancer Awareness Month, October 2014. A woman receives a diagnosis of breast cancer every 2 minutes, making this disease the most frequently diagnosed cancer among women in the U.S. other than skin cancers. In 2014 alone, more than 230,000 women and over 2,000 men will be diagnosed with breast cancer, and tens of thousands will die from it. Breast cancer touches lives throughout the United States and right here in Wheeling, including the family and friends of Mary Mitchell, who recently lost her battle with the disease. Through research and advocacy, significant advances have been made in the fight against breast cancer, including an increase from 74% to 98% in 5-year survival rates for localized breast cancer. The 2.5 million breast cancer survivors living in the U.S. today are a testament to courage, as well as to the importance of promoting awareness about breast cancer, providing information, funding research, following recommended screening guidelines, and offering treatment to those who are affected. Death rates from breast cancer have been declining, and this change is believed to be the result of early detection and improved treatment. Through the month of October, women are encouraged to make a renewed commitment to follow recommended screening guidelines and to make a mammogram appointment. Dean Argyris, President of the Village of Wheeling, does hereby proclaim October 2014 as National Breast Cancer Awareness Month in the Village of Wheeling, and stands in solidarity with those who have battled and are battling breast cancer and those at risk for breast cancer.
Thank you. The Mitchell family was unable to accept this proclamation this evening, but I've known the Mitchell family since I moved into Wheeling. They were a fixture in the Hollywood Ridge area, the Field School, London, Buffalo Grove High School, where their kids went. She was active, so active, and so courageously battled this disease for 12 years. And to see her, you would never know it. She was also a professor at Harper College during that time. So to the Mitchell family, and it was a testament what kind of woman this was when they had a gathering at their home on Woodland. The hundreds of people that showed up, hundreds of people that showed up, and not just people our age, but the kids that she touched a lot of hearts. So I make sure that this proclamation will go to that family. Thank you. Another proclamation.
The children of the Village of Wheeling are entitled to enjoy the fun and festivity associated with the observance of the Halloween trick-or-treat custom, which is to say, going from door to door in their immediate neighborhoods to display their costumes and request treats. Even at such festive times, accidents are an ever-present threat. Traditionally, Halloween has been an occasion when childish pranks have been played, and some of said pranks have resulted in physical harm to others, as well as damage to automobiles and other properties of innocent owners. Dean Argyris, President of the Village of Wheeling, does hereby proclaim Friday, October 31st, 2014 as Trick-or-Treat Day in the Village of Wheeling, with all trick-or-treat activities to be conducted between the hours of 3 p.m. and 7 p.m. We ask that young children be accompanied by parents or other responsible adults. Additionally, that households indicate their willingness to welcome children by keeping their porch or exterior lights on, and that youngsters can only on homes so lighted. We encourage the cooperation of all citizens, young and old, in making this a happy and safe occasion for the entire community. Although in general Halloween represents a safe opportunity to gather in fellowship with our neighbors and their families, the village recommends that parents exercise caution and common sense by closely examining all treats brought home by their children, and that they follow the rule, if in doubt, throw out, where any evidence of tampering with packaging or surface of consumable products is found. We call on all motorists and pedestrians to exercise extreme caution during the Halloween season, and further ask that all reports of strange flying objects, witches, goblins, UFOs, ghostly floating spirits, etc., be directed to the appropriate authority.
Thank you. Mr. Rosen, we have an award, I understand, this evening. Park District Commissioner Rick Rosen.
Right, and thank you very much, Dean. And today I'm not speaking as a representative of the Park District, but I'm speaking on behalf of myself and two other individuals, Mike Kurgan and Sam Pappas, who put together a great golf outing as well as a wonderful dinner. We talked about this back in July, and then it happened on September 11th. We put together, and you've seen probably a whole bunch of these that were floating around here for the golf outing. As a result, to my surprise, the three of us as well, but not only just the three of us, the entire community came out for this event. Not only did they come out as far as supporting us to play golf or eat dinner, but many of the businesses, we had over 40 businesses that contributed kind of things for us to have bids on, silent auctions. And because of that, and I would love to have Deputy Chief Wolf come up here, and we have a check where we netted for this for the Shop for the Cops, and maybe Deputy Wolf would talk about a little bit about it, but we have a check for $2,100. From what I remembered last year, I learned a little bit about it back then. Last year, the police department on their own internally raised $1,200, very quietly, and they've been doing this for many, many years. And with that $1,200, they were able to raise enough money for 12 families for the Christmas gifts for those kids that may not have had a chance to have them. And what's really surprising is that many of those gifts were really clothing, because that's what they really needed. It wasn't toys or things like that. So with that, I'd love to give Deputy Chief Wolf. Thank you. And I just really want to thank you for the work that you've done helping us. And I want to, again, thank the community for supporting this effort. Hopefully we'll try to do it again next year.
Great job.
If I may, I'd just like to thank Mr. Rosen and his associates. This year, Shopping with the Cops is going to be held on December 13th at 8 a.m. at the Walmart. And I'd also like to thank the Walmart Corporation for their generous donations over the years. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to add as well, it is our hope that the police continue to do what they're doing, raise their internal funds, and we hope that this $2,100 will basically triple the amount of money that will be going to the kids in this area. So thanks again.
Great job. Thank you. Citizens' concerns and comments?
Mr. Heber? Oh, just a minute, Mr. Heber. Can I read something first, even though you know it? Members of the general public may address the board with concerns or comments regarding relevant issues. The person submitting a petition, concern, or other comment shall be allotted 5 minutes to present their points and should state their name and address into the record. Mr. Heber.
Good evening. Clerk Simpson, President Argyris, and the rest of the board. My name is George Heber. I reside at 237 Cindy Lane for the past 54 years, and I've been involved quite a bit. At the last board meeting, this is my opinions only, not that of the WCPAA or the citizen police, but I am very much in favor of roadside stops. And the way this board drove it to the Chief Benson last meeting, I thought was terrible, really. There was no excuse for it. If it was something you wanted to say to Chief Benson, it should have been in private. And like I say, it started out, I think it was Trustee Lang asked if there was anything that the police were told how to treat these people. Yes, there was, definitely. I was treated the same way. We had to go through the same classes as the police department. And it's my suggestion, really, that somebody on this board should actually take an active part in going to one of these classes and learn about it and learn what's taking place. Everyone has got a different opinion. You have people out there that hate cops. I was no lover, believe me, until I moved to Wheeling. Actually, Chief Papadowski was one of my mentors. And it was really hard to begin with. I had problems out here also. But growing up in Chicago, they beat up out of you and then ask questions later. So I had no use for cops, believe me, even though my uncle was one. And I just could, it upset me. I wanted to get up and stand up at the last meeting, but I contained myself because I'm a little older now and a little wiser. But that's my opinion. I mean, I think our police department is one of the best in the northwest suburbs as far as educating the people, and the board naturally helps out by sponsoring the WCPA and the CP. We had a wonderful luau there the other night over at the social hall. President Argyris was there. John Fondellis was there. John, don't give up your day job.
I won't.
No, but he done it. It takes a lot of guts to get up there, believe me. I think John come in second, but John Tevens come in first. But everybody was a winner that went up on that stage. It was fantastic. We had a good crowd. A lot of people showed up. And this is what's help support the police department by giving them their wish list. Stuff that's not included in the budget for the village board. I thank you and thank everybody concerned.
Thank you, George. Anybody else?
No, that's it, President.
Thank you.
President Argyris, can I address George for a second?
Sure.
George, I think you misunderstood my questions that night. Chief Benson and I spoke that afternoon, and I asked him if that was a good question to ask, because we like to educate the people as well as what happens during a stop. And that's why I asked the question, not because I was against it. And no one's against the stops here.
I wouldn't say you were against it. I wouldn't say the board was for it. But the last remark that President Argyris made, quote and unquote, was that, you know how hard we've worked to build up Milwaukee Avenue. Well, everybody knows how hard this board has worked to build up Milwaukee Avenue, but you still have to have control over it. And the police department, when they're out there, they have to notify the public in the paper, I believe it's 3 or 4 days prior.
Right.
And if that person that's pulled over doesn't want to come back, there must be a reason for it. I've done, I don't know how many traffic controls directing traffic. We've had guys throw U-turns and speed off. So it's all kinds of people out there, believe me.
And to educate these people, which is why we asked those questions of our staff is to educate the public in what happens when.
And ourselves.
Situation. Yeah.
Well, actually,
And
nobody
so I think
stood
you
up and
misunderstood
said anything.
what the questions were, because, I mean, I checked it over with Chief Benson. I wouldn't ask if it was something that he felt uncomfortable.
It wasn't
So-
only you, Mr. Trustee Lane, but it was Bittner, the whole board, that was throwing questions.
Oh, well, I can't speak for the rest of the board, but I'll tell you, I have nothing
Well, like I
against those
stated
stops.
when I come up here, I cannot speak for the WCPAA or the CP.
Right. Well, I didn't get it that night that anyone was against the stops at all. I think it's just to be user-friendly to the residents and to the folks that come into our town. We want to keep people here. You know,
I've had people talk to me, Ray, about it.
and I have too.
They had the same opinion that I did, that it should never been.
Well, it's a big misunderstanding because I don't think it was.
Right, everybody's got a different opinion.
Yeah, I don't think it was at least portrayed that way. So anyway, I'll cut
No,
this
I'd
off.
say
So-
the board's been doing great. This was the first incident that I've had.
Well, I think it was misinterpreted because it was meant in a positive way, definitely not a negative way.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
I just figured it had to be brought up.
Thanks. Staff reports, Deputy Chief Todd Wolf.
So regarding Halloween, as was brought up by Clerk Simpson this Friday, just like to remind everybody to travel in pairs or in groups, and also to report any suspicious activity to the Wheeling Police Department at 847-459-2632.
Thank you. Public Works Director Stavros.
Thank you, President Argyris. The EAB tree removal program is in full swing for the fall, and this week, hopefully weather permitting, we'll be completing the Longtree Kingsport subdivision area, and after that, we'll be moving into the Orchard Lake area. So residents in the Orchard Lake area, if you see trucks moving in next week, taking down trees, they'll be taking down your EAB trees. Thank you.
How about planting of trees? Are they doing that this fall or are they going to wait till spring?
The fall plantings, I'm not sure if they're completed yet or not. I know we did some of them. I'd have to check. And Miss Hazelwood's out till Thursday. She's at in school. So
Okay. But the residents are still getting a choice of what kind of trees that we have in inventory.
we are working with the residents.
Okay, good.
And they will, they are, can I just mention something about the trees?
Sure.
Being replaced? Our code requires that each lot, each piece of property has a tree in front of it. When a builder builds a home, he's required to plant a tree.
In the parkway.
Yes. Residents, when the trees are removed because of infestation of EAB or whatever other reason it's removed, the village replaces that tree. A lot of residents complain they don't want the tree replaced because they say the tree roots get into their sewer system. The tree roots do not intrude into the sewer system unless your sewer is bad. If you have a sewer system that's cracked, where it allows the roots to infestate into the sewers, that's not the village's fault. It is because the sewer system, that your private sewer, needs to be repaired. But each home is required to have a tree. So to complain and call and say, I don't want a tree, isn't going to happen. They're going to get a tree. That's the ordinance.
Thanks, Tony.
Thanks.
Consent agenda.
All items listed on the consent agenda are considered to be routine by the village board and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a board member or citizen so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the general order of business and considered after all other agenda items.
Any concerns or questions? Entertain a motion.
So move.
Motion by trustee Lang.
Second.
Second by trustee Hare. Roll call.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Krueger?
Yes.
Trustee Hein?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Hare?
Yes.
President Argyris?
Yes. 13A.
13A resolution adopting the Cook County multi-jurisdictional hazard mitigation plan and Chapter 112 Village of Wheeling Annex.
Thank you. Chief McIsaac.
Thank you very much. You have before you this evening the culmination of almost 3 years of work involving Cook County, the Water Reclamation District, and 115 municipalities throughout Cook County. The actual document for this plan is over 500 pages long and has been filed with FEMA and the State Emergency Management Agency. You have in your packet tonight the annex that applies to us. We did not include all of the other documents, but they are available for you to see. What this basically does is allow us to continue to be part of a more global process in obtaining funding for the region to prepare for pre-disaster scenarios, things like flooding, storm sheltering, and things of this nature, as well as making the village continue to be eligible for post-disaster federal funding in the event of the need for recovery and mitigation issues that may arise. In order to be part of this plan and to remain eligible for federal funding, I am asking tonight for your approval of this document before you.
Thank you. Questions from the board? Entertain a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Trustee Hare, second by Trustee Vogel. Roll call, and then a question. Mr. Spondelis has something to add.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Krueger?
Yes.
Trustee Hein?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Hare?
Yes.
President Juris?
Yes, thank you. John?
Thank you. I always like to take the opportunity to talk about the accomplishments of the village, and this is another example of one such opportunity. You heard the chief talk about the organizations that are involved in this mitigation plan and the 115 municipalities that are now a part of the larger plan. A significant amount of that work was researched and produced by Fire Chief McIsaac. So 115 municipalities are going to benefit from the hard work and expertise of our fire chief. And I think it's important to acknowledge his efforts in getting this document written and his expertise through not only general public safety, but through the experiences that we had in town from the floods of 2012. And I think it's important to acknowledge his work for the benefit of not just the Village of Wheeling, but the greater community as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
13B.
Ordinance amending Title 19 Vehicle and Traffic, Chapter 9.24 of the Wheeling Municipal Code to designate Fox Lane and Carroll Avenue as an intersection with stop signs.
Thank you. Deputy Chief Wolf.
Thank you, President Argyris. In September, we received a complaint about no traffic control devices at the intersection of Fox Lane and Carroll Avenue. The Police Department Traffic Unit conducted a traffic study at that intersection, also spoke to several residents who requested that a stop sign be placed at westbound Fox Lane at Carroll. Notices were sent out to residents stating that we were requesting a stop sign to be posted. As of this date, we've received no objections to that stop sign request.
Thank you. Questions? Entertain a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Trustee Vogel, second by Trustee Lang. Roll call.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Krueger?
Yes.
Trustee Hein?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Hare?
Yes.
President Juris?
Yes. 13D, there's two resolutions.
I'll read both of them.
Sure.
Resolutions awarding bids for the purchase of trucks to be utilized by the Department of Public Works. D1 is resolution awarding a bid for the purchase of one new tandem axle dump truck with front plow, wing plow, salt spreader, and pre-wet system from Trans-Chicago Truck Group of Elmhurst, Illinois. Item D2 is resolution awarding a bid to the purchase of one new single axle truck with plow and hook lift system from Northwest Trucks Incorporated of Palatine, Illinois.
Thank you. Director Stowers.
Thank you, President Hurst. These two vehicles were, we brought to you, I believe, a couple, 3 months ago. Both of them were way past their replacement time. In fact, the tandem axle truck, since our last meeting, has now, the frame has cracked in such a way that we've had to take it completely out of service. It can no longer be driven on the road, which means we have lost that, the use of that truck for the rest of the year. Even if this is approved this evening, this tandem axle won't be replaced until sometime, I'm assuming, in time the chassis gets in and built and outfitted, probably February, Chuck? So most of the winter, we're going to be short one tandem axle. And the other one's right behind as far as being in bad shape. These trucks both are in need of replacement.
Okay, questions from the board? Trustee Brady?
According to the proposal in the contract, we're not going to get that tandem axle until May, 215 days before delivery. What are we going to use for a truck to replace it?
Like I just said, we're out. We don't have another truck to replace it. Truck's off the road. The one is split, the frame is split. I don't have another tandem axle to replace it with, which is one of our main trucks for our main highway. We use that also for our water main breaks. So we're going to be short a large plow.
Do we only have that one?
Well, we have some other tandem axle trucks will be used, but for our four-lane highways, for our Wheeling Road, Lexington, Northgate, we run them tandem, side by side to clear those roadways. And this new one, we were equipping with a wing plow, like we have with the other tandem we ordered in preparation for the Wolf Road jurisdictional transfer, which will be coming up in 2 years, which we need an additional wing plow for.
If winter turns out anything close to last year's, do they rent? Do they lease trucks like this on a temporary basis?
I'm sure we can look around and we can find something.
I'd find out.
Yes, they do. We'll make sure that we've got something reserved if necessary.
Motion approved then.
Trustee Hein had something.
Thank you. I was over by Public Works Friday, and Chuck Spratt and Tony Stava showed me some pictures of the vehicles that were being replaced and everything. And I must say, you guys, you did a heck of a job to keep these things on the street. So thank you very much for your hard work. A lot of gum and Band-Aids went on there, but did a good job.
All goes to Mr. Spratt and his crew. I mean, they do a heck of a job keeping them
Good job.
together, baling wire and bubble gum, whatever it takes.
And let's remember, those trucks are over 15, 16 years old as well, so they only last so long.
And they're in assault all the time.
And they're in assault all the time. Anybody else, questions? Entertain a motion by Trustee Brady on Resolution 13D1, second by Trustee Hein. Roll call.
It's Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Okay. Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Krueger?
Yes.
Trustee Hein?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Hare?
Yes.
President Juris?
Yes, thank you. Entertain a motion for 13D2.
So moved.
Second?
Motion by Trustee Brady, second by Trustee Krueger. Roll call.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Krueger?
Yes.
Trustee Hein?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Hare?
Yes.
President Juris?
Yes, and Manager Svendilson has a comment.
Thank you. I'd like to piggyback on Trustee Hines' comments, and this is as much to publicly recognize those that are responsible for good deeds, but also as public education. As Trustee Hines said, Superintendent Spratt is in charge of our fleet and does an incredible job in making sure, we're talking tonight specifically about these two vehicles, but that type of diligence goes into every vehicle, and that type of analysis and that much bubble gum and tape go into making sure that when he recommends that we need to replace a piece of equipment, large or small, that it's at the end of its life. And I know, we hear all the time about we're replacing X number of squad cars or this big truck or that big truck. I think it's important for the public to understand that that level of scrutiny has been part of the process, and that is all through the helm of Superintendent Spratt. So I think he deserves some recognition, as well as the Department of Public Works and his particular division of fleet services, working with all of our department heads to make sure that the public's money is spent wisely.
Thanks, Chuck. Sure, come on up.
First of all, thank you all for your support. I wanted to make you aware of the one single axle that is being replaced tonight. I have specified a truck that embodies the term doing more with less. This truck is a hook truck. It's a system that's been in use in the waste industry for years, but it's now being used quite a bit in municipal. This truck will be capable of having half a dozen different bodies on it. One truck can do the work of 6 trucks. Good example of that would be a month ago when we had that bad storm go through. We have 3 chippers and 2 chipper trucks. We had to go makeshift real quick to put a plywood body on a 1-ton truck so we could chip more trees. With this type of truck, 5 minutes, you pull up to it, back up to it, pull a new body on, and you got another chipper truck. You want to pre-wet the road for ice and snow, pull that body on, take off and go. So this truck, I went and saw it in North Aurora. They have several of them. They wanted to make their whole fleet this type of truck. It really do more for less.
I was fortunate to see that at the APWA conference when we were at McCormick Place, and also in Schaumburg. They had a couple of those out there. And boy, one-stop shop with one truck. It was amazing how many components of different operation you can get out of a truck. Good job. It seems to be the future. Thanks, Chuck. 13E.
Resolution authorizing the village president and clerk to execute a contract between the Village of Wheeling and V3 companies for environmental site investigation work in an amount not to exceed $57,100.
Director Janik, slow night for you tonight. Only one item on the agenda.
I believe you were going to call on the village attorney for this. I believe he prepared the resolution. I was trying to escape the entire night, but I will take it over if you want.
I will take it for you and let you relax if that's okay with the president?
Sure, no problem.
Thank you. The resolution authorizes the village president and clerk to execute a proposal with V3 companies to perform further site investigation at 115 and 119 South Milwaukee. Just a little bit to go back in history on this. We purchased, the village purchased 115 South Milwaukee several years ago. Probably 6 years ago we did environmental studies then. That site proved to be clean. We just recently purchased 119 South Milwaukee, and the old buildings have been torn down. It's a vacant lot now. We purchased 119 with the knowledge that there was some environmental contamination on that site. This contract retains V3 to enumerate the environmental contamination we're dealing with, to put a plan together to enroll that site with the state's site remediation program and gain an NFR letter for the site. You have the fee. This project is completely TIF eligible. There'll be no funds coming from the general funds. I can answer any further questions.
Any questions from the board? Entertain a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by trustee Lang, second by trustee Hare. Roll call, please.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Krueger?
Yes.
Trustee Hein?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Hare?
Yes.
President Harris?
Yes, thank you. 13F.
Discussion regarding social media use policy for the Village of Wheeling.
Thank you. Manager Svanbillis.
Thank you. Before you this evening for discussion is a policy on social media, and as the board knows, as of yet, the Village of Wheeling does not have a presence on either Facebook or Twitter. Obviously, that is the medium by which most people get their information nowadays, and the attached policy is meant to address the opportunity for the village to create a Facebook page, a Twitter account, and the different uses that can come of those two platforms. One of the biggest concerns also attached is a memo from our attorney that talks a little bit about the pitfalls of social media. I think we're all aware that there can be some hazards with swimming inside the social media pool, as it were. But this policy, although it is short, we think addresses most of those concerns, as many as we could get in front of, and we are excited about creating these pages. The schedule would be that this would be on your meeting of November 3rd for approval. and by the end of that week, we would go live with a Twitter feed and a Facebook page. I can answer any questions about what it will look like, meaning the larger picture of social media, and Attorney Ferrello can answer any questions you may have about the impact of social media with regards to Open Meetings Act violations, communications, those kinds of things. But hopefully the policy is pretty to the point.
Thank you. Let me start with Trustee Kruger. Any comments?
I do, thank you. First of all, I read all of it, and there's a lot of information here and a lot of casework on some of the pitfalls of social media. I think when we mentioned this before, we spoke about our Facebook page being sort of a one-way social gathering, really just the village providing information to the citizens with no real way for them to interact back. Would we ever change that policy going forward? Are we trying it out to see and then see what the feedback is, see how many hits there are, if there's interest?
Sure, I think I'll let Jim talk maybe more about the specifics of why you rarely see, and there are a couple that have two-way communication. The majority, the overwhelming majority do not, and Jim can talk a little bit about why. But to answer your question, the board can decide either now or at any time in the future if they would like Facebook, really, because Twitter's not. So Facebook to become a two-way medium. So the answer is yes, the board can decide that at any time.
And if I just piggyback on that, the big issue to wrestle with, I mean, there's open meetings, there's FOIA, there's Local Records Act, and we can deal with those all pretty simply. The issue here is, what do you want your policy to look like? And that addresses the First Amendment. Are we going to make this a traditional public forum where it's a two-way line of communication? If you do, what that means is that you can't select whose comments stay on the page, whose comments come off the page. First Amendment case law talks about regulations being content neutral. In other words, you can't restrict a message or stop a message because you don't like what the message is. So that is why you see most of these policies being information sharing. You could end up with, if you go two-way, you can end up with, and maybe that's okay, some messages that are extremely off the wall. I mean, I know you don't mind negative messages, that's how you get better, but you can end up with some messages that really are offensive, that are difficult to deal with, that are off topic, that you really don't want on your site. Information sharing is one way. First Amendment is not implicated. As far as changing, if you start with this information sharing only, a one-way form of communication, which will benefit the public greatly, very frankly, you'll have an ability to get to a lot more people with a website. You can change to a two-way, but the problem is when you go to a two-way communication, very difficult to pull back, because you can go to the two-way communication, the traditional public forum, and start to feel like, oh boy, I don't really love the messages we're getting, let's go back. Then you open yourself up to a suit which could allege you have discriminated based on the content of the speech. So the vast majority of these policies take a form similar to what John and the staff have put together. They've looked at a lot of policies from other communities. Mallory and I have looked at lots of policies from other communities. We've prepared them. And this is the kind of policy that really is most popular. And still, it's useful. It is very useful. A lot of people don't go to the website. Websites, as cutting edge as they were, 3, 4, 5 years ago, they're kind of fading a bit.
Truly.
And we see that with our own marketing, with our law firm. Now everybody's talking about a presence on social media because everybody gets it. They get it on their phone. You get updates. Right. You get alerts. So this is a great tool and a great ability to reach your residents without opening yourself up to a situation that could be negative.
Can I add one of the further answer to the question? I'm going to take the more optimistic approach than people will be writing negative things.
Point counterpoint.
Point counterpoint, right. I will tell you that from the staff perspective, one of the concerns is as Jim said, once you open the door, you're having this conversation. And from a staff perspective, we would quite seriously have to hire someone to sit there and communicate all day, because it's the idea of a conversation. You know, that you are now okay, someone asks a question, you respond, they respond back to you, and where does it end? You end up with, long threads of back and forth. I can tell you we don't have the staff for that, and one of the things as we were researching these policies is, well, we want to make sure that the public has the opportunity to ask questions in general. Obviously, the public has questions, we need to be accessible. And when we looked at it, the same methods that have always been in place, the speak out form, obviously just picking up the phone. We have specific email accounts that are directed to the appropriate department. So there are means by which the residents can still access us. And I just wanted to throw that other side of it in.
Sure.
That isn't necessarily just about negative comments.
So let's say the Wheeling has a Facebook page, a one-way Facebook page, and it's been live for a few months, and someone has a comment or a question about something that they saw on that page.
Mm-hmm.
How would they, if they're reading it off their phone, how would they quickly be able to share that question or concern or comment?
We will have, excellent question. In the About section, you saw on Facebook, there's always an About section, whether it's a private or it's an entity. We will put a link to the Speak Out email address.
On our website.
Which links to our website, which then comes as a work order through IT and is directed usually to my office, and then we if it's a Public Works question, it goes to Public Works. So we will make that very clear in the narrative in the About section. Here is the link that if you have a question, you don't have to search for how do I contact the village.
Well, I'm here already. How do I let you know what I'm thinking right now? That's sort of the beauty of social media. It's instantaneous action.
And it will be an active link, so it will send you straight to an email.
The last question that I have is, what other villages or municipalities' Facebook pages had you looked at? And the reason I bring that up, and I did mention this to you before, is that I did find that the Village of Barrington has been operating a Facebook page since 2009, Village of Mount Prospect since 2011, and the Village of Glenview since 2012. They are two-way. From what I can tell from a Facebook fan page, they have a like and a comment and a share button on each of their items, and I did scroll as far back as I could to see if there was anything controversial or community commentary that was maybe tough, that hardly any, nothing, So I wonder if maybe because Facebook it's your name, people are less likely to post, I think, negatively, certainly on a municipal page, when your name is associated to it. Anonymously, yeah, it's a free-for-all. But that's, I think, why the Daily Herald even went to you can't just post anonymously on an article anymore. You need to show your face and be able to do that. And that cut back on a lot of the negativity. So I'm wondering, have you reached out to any of these communities that have two-way?
Well, Jim, can you answer that question about Mount Prospect? Because you represent, or KTJ represents Mount Prospect. But I'd like to one of the other things you said, we will still be able to share and like and all those things even from a one-way communication point. Because that's part of the beauty of social media, is the ability to spread. Your first question about how many we looked at, I don't have my file in front of me, but we not only looked at dozens of them, we did a Northwest Municipal Conference survey where I think we only found 2, which is why, Jim, if you know the answer.
I don't know what their experience has been. I don't do the work for Mount Prospect, so I'm not sure what their experience has been. We can certainly gather that information. I mean, we're in close contact with that manager, and I can find out if it's been difficult to manage, but it's certainly true that the vast majority are not two-way. They're one-way communication systems.
What I'm looking at Mount Prospects is great, actually. I mean, they have a police officer with a found puppy in his arms. I mean, what an easy way to find your dog, right? If you had that Facebook page. So, and 9 people liked it. So it does work, and I don't see, I scrolled back as far as I could without wasting an entire afternoon, but, tried to see what kind of activity is on there, and it really is informational. So I love that we're thinking about the 21st century and adopting this policy for one way.
Trustee Brady, comments?
I read this thing twice, and I'm still am wondering what is the problem, or if there's a problem that we're trying to resolve going to the social media like Facebook or Twitter or texting or whatever have you, that we could improve on. Because Facebook, to me, when I go on there, I just see people just kind of mindlessly rambling on and you know, what's happening in their personal life, and that's all fine and dandy. And I'm wondering, well, how is that going to fit into the village of Wheeling? And what benefit is it going to be to us? You know, of course, we could advertise good things that happen, show people in the community what's going on, give them an opportunity to see what's going on. But then, okay, that's fine. That's going to take one person full time, like somebody said, to just manage this thing. Two-way, I got to tell you something. I've always had trouble trying to have a conversation, especially a two-sided conversation, texting, because something gets lost. The words are there, but the body language and the emotion that puts those words in the right perspective isn't there, and more than likely are miscued or mistaken as an opposite of what you're really trying to say. And I've always been in favor of, you know, our phone numbers are listed all over the place here. My cell number, my phone's in my pocket, my cell. If somebody's got a problem, wants to talk to me, call me. I'd rather talk to you instead of, you know, saying something that, you know, you're in a hurry, you're not wording it right, and it's going to be taken wrong and start a big rhubarb about it. I don't know if we need this social media. To me, I see the kids and even my daughters, they use it, they're on it all the time, and I don't see any benefit from it, at least from a personal standpoint. If the village can use it to get the word out one way to the good things that we're doing, to the little things that we're doing, like Mary has a picture of this policeman holding a puppy. Well, you know, it kind of puts a little human touch to everything, and good. And if people can comment on it, that's fine. I don't want to turn into a gripe session because was about a week ago there was in the paper what's going on around the suburbs. One was, remember years ago, Dean, when we first got on the board, we wanted to have a Saturday open house board meeting. You just come in, just the trustees would sit down here, and people, any resident can come in here and tell us their problems. Oh, God, no, we can't have that. It'll be a shootout, you know. I still say that's the way. If you want to know what's going on in the village, you want the people, because face-to-face is a whole different ballgame. And people will say anything they want about it, but most of them won't say it to your face. Most of them are pretty cordial. Some of them get excited, but you know what? It's good that we see that, and it's good that we hear some of the things that these people are complaining about. I'd rather hear it face-to-face than hear it from the third-party friends of theirs or something of the sort. I don't know. I've got kind of mixed emotions on this here, and if it's just going to be what I suspect might be, is just a method of us getting people, the human side of the village of Wheeling, we're all here, we're working, we're doing good things, and you know, and I don't want this to get into texting, you know, messages back and forth. That isn't going to work.
That is not the intent. The intent is the first. It is information sharing. It is, you know, not just the good side. I mean, it's everything. There's a storm coming. There's whatever it may be. People certainly check their Facebook accounts more than they, you know, are reading the news. And Trustee Kruger, I'll get back to you with Mount Prospect, but I don't know that they are two-way.
On October 13th, they posted Saturday, October 18th, Randhurst Village about their food pantry drive, and a couple people liked it. There was 4 shares, and one of their residents said, "Where is the food pantry? Where can I drop off food?" And the Village of Mount Prospect did in fact reply, "Hi Nancy, the food pantry is in Village Hall at 50 South Emerson," and gave them the information. So it is definitely two-way.
We'll do more research on Mount Prospect in particular.
Thanks.
Trustee here?
I love it. I mean, sometimes when us older individuals, I mean, technology has changed quite a bit in a short period of time. But I think any way of getting information out to the public, and obviously this is one of those ways, I support it. I can't wait to see how well it works. Thanks.
Thank you. Trustee Hein?
Thank you. I think it's a great idea. Those two avenues, the Facebook and the Twitter, are probably one of the best types of media to get to our constituents and being able to inform them on a very rapid and get information back on questions that we might need to be answered. And I think that our IT department and our staff will handle it very well. And we can grow into it. We don't have to get crazy with it, but let's use it for a great tool that it is, because that's exactly what it is. It's a great tool to communicate.
Thank you. Trustee Vogel?
I too think it's a great idea, but I also think we have to use a little caution. Move slow, use it as a marketing tool, informational tool to start with and see how that goes. If we start putting the expectation out there that we're going to respond to everybody, we're going to find ourselves with big problems, I think. So I think it's just got to be an informational venue only.
Trustee Lang?
Yeah, I agree. It's a great idea. Lights around Wheeling or trick-or-treat hours, perfect things to put on there. You know, perfect information. Although people will have to sign up for the Village of Wheeling website to get it, of course, but I think they will. There's great information that can be put out there. So I agree.
We'll definitely advertise once it goes live.
Could that be hooked up with our village website? You know, so that, like you have all the different things on there?
Yep, we will have a link to Facebook and a link to Twitter right from our front page. It'll be very obvious.
Know where to find it.
Absolutely.
Mr. President.
Yes, sir.
One last thing I'd like to point out too. I remember when we were going to go live with these TV cameras, how people would go, oh my gosh, you know, we're going to be broadcasted into people's living rooms. I was astounded on the amount of people that actually watch these meetings. And there's one lady out there that watches every week, Mary K.E. Oakey. She watches. I mean, there's others like her that just sit out there and they get informed on what goes on in their government. And I think that's a wonderful idea, having this, and a wonderful idea about going with the other social medias as well.
Thank you. Clerk Simpson, any comments?
No, I'm for open media. I'm for it 100%.
And myself too, you know, we talk about how subscriptions are down with the Daily Herald and stuff like that, and a lot of times the message doesn't get out. And it's amazing to me, I thought I would never say this, but getting involved with social media, it is one of the first things you do every day. You see what's out there, or what I read in the Herald or the Journal Topics, or things that we're trying to send a message that I'll share on my Facebook. And to see the hits, the co-sharing of information that you put on your Facebook is just unbelievable to me. And you're right, Bob. When we talked about televising these things, everybody probably staffed them all. Nobody's going to watch it. Nobody's going to, it's a waste of money. It's a waste of time. You'd be surprised how many people watch these meetings and how many people in this community are hooked up to Facebook. My page alone, hundreds. And when I issue something regarding the town center or Riva or somebody coming into town or something that we're doing in the community or sharing the Festival of Lights that we're doing, Wheeling, you know, lights around Wheeling that Mary put in there, and then I put it in there and I shared it, and 7 people shared after that. It's getting that message out there that's all positive. And I agree with everybody. You know what? Let's start somewhere as informational. Build up our friend pages there and see what's out there, because you know what? That is the way to go. Whether it been a farmer's market, whether it been an event, the 4th of July, anything that we can offer to the residents to get that message out that didn't read it in the paper because they don't look at the paper. I mean, it's another avenue for us to do. So do some more experimenting. Let's see if we can get something launched on this thing, and go from there.
I will bring the policy for adoption and on consent for next week, the 3rd of November.
Great. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Official communication, Trustee Kruger.
Oh, well, you guys keep bringing up Lights Around Wheeling, so I think I'll just tell you some more about it. Lights Around Wheeling will be this year, Sunday, November 23rd at 4:30 p.m. at Friendship Park, which is at the northeast corner of Dundee and Milwaukee. We promise to have hot cocoa and pumpkin spice apple cider and apple fritter donuts from Wheeling Donuts. There will be a kiddie train for our kids, and I think some adults like to ride that thing too, from the Great Chicago Kiddie Train Company. Santa and Mrs. Claus will arrive by horse-drawn wagon at the end of an awesome procession of village-decorated vehicles. There will be goodie bags and other holiday swag handed out to the kids and some grown-ups that are kids at heart. And so be sure to mark your calendars for Sunday, November 23rd at 4:30 p.m. for the 2014 Lights Around Wheeling event.
Thank you, Mary. Trustee Brady?
I use the social media to do a little advertising here for our fire department. I got a notice from my good friend Emmett Gribbins, my life-saving buddy, who is always on the job, firefighter and paramedic. He's running a firefighters Operation Warm program. They're collecting money for coats for kids. This is in conjunction with, what school is it?
Holmes.
Yes, the Holmes. And unfortunately, I'm a little late getting the information on this, but this Thursday would be the last day that they'll collect money. They get coats for $35 a pop, and it is put to good use. So anybody listening, if you have an opportunity and an extra $35 or whatever you want to give, why don't you call the fire department, find out where you can drop check, cash, whatever it is, off, and we can take it from there. Believe me, it'll all be put to good use. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee here?
Yeah, one thing real quick. I just want to thank Mark Janik and people in his division. They got the streets done over in Old Town, and they look wonderful. I know we've had our discussions previously about how long it took to do this and that, but the residents are very, very pleased on how they look, and thank you very much.
Thank you. Trustee Yang?
Thank you. Just one quick thing. As we all know, President Agiers is the chairman of the Northwest Municipal Conference Transportation Committee, and I also sit on that same committee. And President and I asked for input from our fellow trustees relative to transportation priorities in the village of Wheeling. And thank you very much for your response, and thank you to staff for their response. And you have a memo from me today, and I will be working with Manager Fondolis and President Agiers to see what we can put together relative to some type of a program where we can look at different items in our transportation plan so that we can show a unified front to IDOT and the rest of the people. So thank you very much for your input.
Thank you. Trustee Vogel?
Nothing today, thank you.
Trustee Lang?
Thanks. A resident had asked me about a question about trick or treat that was interesting enough, so I thought I'd at least bring it forward. If we ever considered it to be on a designated Saturday, like prior to Halloween, for the reason that 3 o'clock, most residents aren't home at that point, and and maybe something, of course not this year, but in the future, if we want to consider a set day, or if we have already considered that, why it's a problem. But just something to look at for the future. Could be during daylight hours. It could be on a Saturday where more people are home. Let the kids not work so hard, because they go up to a house and there's no one there.
Yeah.
And I know in my neighborhood the steps are pretty high, so they got a lot of steps to climb. And just food for thought.
Sounds like a great challenge for our Facebook page to get the word out, because the biggest obstacle to that is making sure that everyone in the community knows that trick-or-treat is going to happen on this date. But it's a great idea if we can make that happen, where everyone understands that it's not happening on October 31st, it's happening this year on the closest Saturday, whatever that happens to be.
Yeah, it's an interesting idea. It could go either way, whether people like it or not. That way, some people are traditional and like it on that set day. But it's just a thought. I said I'd bring it up. And
Mr. President?
Automatically on Saturday.
Piggybacking on that, other towns hold those little Halloween, little costume dress-up days for the little kids. And I don't know who sponsors it. I know Lombard had one. They had it downtown, and they had all these little things for the kids dressed up in Halloween outfits. It was done on a Saturday. And it'd be interesting to see if we could specifically pull it on a Saturday or a Sunday just for a few hours, invite the entire community to that, and that would be Halloween. I think it would be a much more safer event than people going door to door. And that's something maybe to look at.
Maybe look into and see what other communities are doing around
Right.
us. That'd be good. And so we can maybe plan for something to next year. Good. Anything else?
No, that's it.
Clerk Simpson.
As you know, next Tuesday, if you don't know already, is voting, November 4th. The mail-in ballots, any registered suburban Cook County voter may apply for a mail-in ballot. It is no longer necessary to provide a reason. To obtain a mail ballot application, you can visit www.cookcountyclerk.com or at the Wheeling Village Hall. They have the application. Once an application has been submitted to Cook County, a ballot will be mailed to the address indicated on the application. The last date to request a mail ballot is October 30th, and absentee ballots must be postmarked no later than November 3rd. Early voting will take place October 20th to November 2nd, 2014. The closest ones in the area are Arlington Heights, Northbrook Village Hall, and the Wheeling Township, thank you.
And Arlington Heights Road.
And Arlington Heights Road. There's a list of the polling places. To find out where your polling place is, visit www.cookcountyclerk.com and enter your home address or birthday under your voter information. They'll tell you where your voting place is. You can also ask Lisa or myself, call the Village Hall, and we can tell you where you are to vote.
Okay, thank you. Manager Spendos?
Thank you. I have 3 items this evening, but I'm going to start with an apology for anybody who attended on Saturday night. I can play it, but I can't move to it. So if you were there, sorry about that.
I erased the video. I looked
You
at
did?
it.
Well, thank
I
you.
blew it away.
You've always been my favorite. I very much appreciate that. My wife, however, has video that I'm sure she will hold against me for a long time to come.
As she should.
It's even worse when your in-laws are with you, and yeah. Anyway.
Behave.
Exactly. 3 items. One, we talk a lot about working outside the boundaries just of the Village of Wheeling for the greater good, and I'm happy to announce that our village president has won a runoff election to represent the 6th District on the Lake County Stormwater Management Commission. The Stormwater Management Commission works to manage floodplains and watersheds by administering countywide stormwater management standards to reduce flood damage through flood hazard mitigation projects and by implementing best management practices. This is quite a big deal for the Village of Wheeling. Obviously, we have a good number of flood issues, but it also works hand in hand with the work that we've been doing as staff, as a board here to make sure that what we're doing within our boundaries also makes sense in the greater watershed. And we've had some involvement on the Cook County side for some years, but never really had an opportunity to be involved in the Lake County side. So having President Argyris be on this board, the president of the board, in fact, is a huge compliment to us as a community, but also an important factor in making sure that every move we make when talking about flood mitigation is done in conjunction with the bigger picture. So congratulations.
Thank you, John.
And speaking of, I have an update on the Stormwater Master Plan utility fee that we've been talking about. As the board is aware, earlier this year, we contracted with CBEL to do an entire community-wide analysis of the flood hazards in our community. And that knowledge, that information will then be used to create specific projects, put a dollar amount to those specific projects, and that way we can have a conversation about the bigger picture of this utility fee. because before the board is going to institute any kind of fee, we want to make sure that that fee makes sense and is going towards the right projects. We met a couple of weeks ago. Trustee Brady was with us when we had our first update meeting with CBEL to see exactly how far along they've gotten. They've gotten quite far along. We have another meeting on November 5th. Where we're going to talk about financing, permit compliance, master plan report. The next steps are public meetings, and then finally implementation. That meeting is November 5th. I will follow up again after that meeting, but we do expect to have our first public meeting, our first public discussion at the board level by the end of November. So that is our goal. We expect to have a great deal of information to present to you. We will have our engineer from Christopher Burke here to talk to you about the specifics and show you all the areas, the graphics. You know, a picture tells 1,000 words. So we'll have graphics to show everyone exactly what the problem is, what a project would look like in each of those locations, and then an estimate as to how to remediate each of those hazards. So that will be coming to you by the end of November. And the last bit of information I have, we've put this already on our website, and it will be in the next issue of the Village's newsletter. And that is this graphic, which, Luca, you don't really need to zoom in on, but it's this graphic that talks about the savings that the Village of Wheeling residents and businesses have earned through our electric aggregation program. To date, we can quantify $2.6 million of savings for the combination of residential and business electrical needs. The program started in March of 2012, and that $2.6 million averages out to $229 per household. What is more significant, I think, we keep seeing all this information about ComEd and their new rates. They have new rate structures, and every quarter now they're issuing new information as far as their pricing. Currently, ComEd is at a range of, depending on usage, and there's all kinds of acronyms and things that I never wanted to learn about until we got involved in electric aggregation, between 6.93 and 7.93 cents per kilowatt hour, whereas our fixed rate is 6.621. So it's a very difficult analysis to look at a ComEd bill versus our electric aggregation consortium number, because there are price to compares, there are purchased electricity adjustments that either do or do not are or are not calculated in your price if you are in the aggregation program. But when you boil it all down, we are at 6.621 versus 7.93 for ComEd. So the savings will continue at least for another year. This year has been the biggest challenge. It was easy in the beginning to recognize 30% savings. Now we're down to, only around 10%, but 10% is better than none. So I'm happy to say that we made a good move when we locked in for the next year. So that information is already on our website. You'll see the graphic, and it will also be included in the next newsletter.
Thank you. Just to piggyback on the stormwater utility update, I've asked Manager Spondilis, along with our attorney, to hold off on any changes to the ordinance that we spoke about at the last meeting, the 1.5 to 1 ratio, until we get the rest of the models and the information that our consultants are doing regarding village-wide stormwater management. So with that, it's going to be on hold. So if you guys are looking for it, it's on hold right now until we get the rest of the report from CBEL. So you guys are aware of that. A couple things with me. I was contacted by gubernatorial candidate Bruce Rauner that he will be in our town tomorrow at 4 o'clock at Keats Manufacturing, which is located at 350 Holbrook. And he will also be in our town at Penray Corporation Wednesday at 1:30 at 440 Dennison Court. He's asked me to extend invitations to the community. He will be in our town the next 2 days. So it's getting down to the wire, like Clerk Simpson said. Election day is a week from tomorrow. Just an update, we will have our budget meeting scheduled for Saturday at 8:30, November 8th, here at Village Hall. So all are welcome to attend that. Kudos and my hat's off to Debbie and Betty and the rest of the committee from the WCP AAA. Awesome night Saturday. Sorry I missed the John Svandilla's show, but last year I was the show, so good thing it was you. So we had a lot of fun there. And
next year's
great
Tony.
Turnout. Tony's going to be next year. He'll be doing no hula for sure. But great turnout, good food, nice group of folks there too, so we had a nice time there. I also like to share with our residents, on a positive note, a suburban Special Olympian is celebrating a perfect score she achieved during a recent bowling tournament. Valerie Gagliano, a Wheeling resident and member of the Northwest Special Recreation Association, bowled a 300 at the 2014 Northeast Sectional Bowling Tournament, which was held on October 19th in Addison. According to Special Olympics Illinois spokesperson Alexandra McMillan, Gagliano had received a gold medal at her area bowling competition over the summer, which qualified her to attend the sectional bowling tournament in Addison. There she competed against other gold medal winners from around the Chicago area. The bowling alley Stardogs Bowl presented Gagliano with a 300 club pullover, and congratulations for her achievement. Katie Grisham, director of Area 5, said Gagliano is the first athlete to bowl a 300 in her 12-year career with Special Olympics in Illinois. Valerie Gagliano, 30, next will compete at the Special Olympics State Bowling Tournament in Peoria on December 6th. How cool is that? So congratulations, Valerie. Go Val. What else we had? Oh, I'm also happy to say that members of our staff and the Park District staff had met Thursday afternoon here at Village Hall. Liaison to the senior department, Trustee Brady, along with Sherry Weezar, Mr. Svandillis, myself, President Pekka, Director Bukes, and Commissioner Stein was there. She left. She was here earlier. And we had a real positive meeting regarding future plans, not just for the Park District, but also for the Village of Wheeling and there's our senior center. And we got out of that meeting about an hour and a half, 2 hours of some good positive dialogue, working together. We will be looking for some outside help to help mediate and get some professionalism involved with this thing so we can do a cooperative with the Park District, which in my opinion is very exciting for the future of our seniors and also for the future of our Park District here. So more to come with that, and we'll have some updates probably in the next 30 to 45 days into where we're going with that, and hopefully some positive answers by the end of first quarter of next year. So good meeting, good dialogue, and I thank Sherry for all her due diligence because you are the pro and you're good at it. So I thank you for that. And I believe I covered it all, John. I think I do. So anyway, we have no minutes, and we do have executive session. 3 items on the executive session: the setting of a price for sale or lease of property owned by the village, review and approval of minutes of executive session lawfully closed under the Open Meetings Act. Under personnel, to dismiss the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, or performance of a specific employee of the village. I entertain a motion.
So moved.
I'm sorry, who was that on my right?
That was me.
Trustee here. Second by Trustee Hine. Roll call, please.
Trustee Vogel?
Yes.
Trustee Lang?
Yes.
Trustee Krueger?
Yes.
Trustee Hine?
Yes.
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Here?
Yes.
President Juris?
Yes. And we'll go into executive session at 7:55. Thank you.
I know, I saw that in the paper.